Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Competition Archery Media. Got a cool event for you today. We experimented with this last week where we bring you a match from the past and we have the archers who are involved in it, one or more of them, commentate on it and tell you what was going on during the match. So this past year at the 2020 Lancaster Archery Classic, we had our first ever women's barebow division. They turned out in force. There was, I think, 61 entrants in the women's barebow division. And of course, you knew that one of the all-time women's barebow greats, Fawn Gerard, was going to be in the mix somewhere. So we're going to show you her match. This would have been in the middle of the finals between Fawn and Claire Z. This is going to be their match because it was an epic one. And so we have with us today Fawn Gerard. Fawn, thanks for joining us.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
Before we get started, Fawn, what's your world looking like these days?
I am babysitting right now, and I'm calling my students, checking in on them daily, if
Okay.
not every other day. We actually are driving out once a week and seeing some of our kids and
Oh,
waving from the car and sending notes and doing stuff on via internet and doing as much as we can to still stay in touch with those kids.
right. That's we should
But
mention
other than that,
you're a school
yeah.
teacher. That's your job. Yeah.
Yeah, and then homeschooling my own son is I would take on my 40 plus kids over taking on him any day. So,
Are you
and I
shooting any
know
barebow?
I'm shooting right now. We have two bales set up outside, and I can shoot from my garage to the bale is 50 meters. So I'm getting ready for some field.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
before we get into the match, Fawn, let's talk about this. So you've been shooting, as I mentioned, this is our first year for the women's barebow division, but you competed years before that, and you were always in that final mix of archers who were trying to get to the podium. I think one year, I mean, you came so close to getting on that final stage so many times. Tell us what it
Yeah.
meant to have a women's barebow division this year and to have so many entrants.
Well, having as many entrances as we had, I mean, we had 61 awesome, amazing females come in and shoot. And my husband's in the
I
background.
saw him.
Just to have 61 other females and good archers coming in and
Yeah.
starting to, I mean, we've got so many that are coming up the line, like Chrissy Lyons, Nikki, Sydney Phipps, all those girls, they're coming up the road and they're really turning it on, which is really awesome. So it's nice to see that turnout. Only having I think we had 28 last year, and then to have 61 this year was really
Right.
amazing. And then to see him turn it on was even better. I mean,
Yeah.
that's awesome in itself. So yeah, I mean, having the women's division, you guys know me. I like shooting against the men. I like having that pressure. I like having that push.
Yeah.
But the women are turning it on, so
For sure.
it's really good. I mean, you've got people like Ruth who pushes and she really shoves forward. So we've got a lot of women that are pushing this year and last year. So
And there were some of the
it's good to
best
see them coming up.
international women. I mean, it wasn't just Americans. We had, Lena and Chinzia and, there were
We had Lena
several.
and Chensia, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that have really. I mean, they rock all the time. So yeah,
Well, all right. Well, let's jump into the match now. We should mention Claire Z. I mean, she was the outdoor national champion. So Claire's a accomplished barebow archer in her own right. So this is Fawn Gerard against Claire Z. And the winner of this match would go on to the gold medal match is where we're at with this. So there, you just got introduced as you're having
okay,
fun and did
woohoo,
not barf.
yeah. Trying to talk myself into not getting sick right there. So
Yeah,
moving her over.
tell us about your illness that you're experiencing during this.
So on Thursday, I started feeling not hot, but we ended up going ahead and flying in, of course, and doing what we need. And I thought, well, maybe it's just um, a little bit of nerves. I mean, I'll be the first one to say I have nerves. But I thought maybe it's a little bit of nerves and a little bit of motion sick because I get motion sickness. And I thought, well, it's just, not a big deal. And then it just toppled from there. It was just worse every day, throwing up, chills, having trouble sleeping. And I was actually at the point after qualifications that I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But then I've never known when to quit. So
Yeah.
so I'm a fighter. So I just kept pushing through because that's what we do. So
Yeah. Right before
that's
this
what we're doing.
match, right before this match, I saw you backstage. I said, "Hey, Fawn, how you doing?" You just said, "I threw up."
Yeah, I was throwing up quite a bit actually. So to not throw up when I got up there was good.
So you came out with a gold there, and now talk about
Yeah.
for barebow. We've heard barebow archers talk before. The lighting in here is an issue for you folks.
The lighting is an issue, I think, because depending on what you use to reference, like I know I use the tip of my arrow to reference, and so the glare on the
Yeah.
arrow does make a difference. And so if it's a heavy glare, then it can make you shoot high or low. If it's an angled glare off to the side, it can make you shoot right or left. I mean, it all just depends.
Right.
So,
So
I mean, we shoot.
So you come out in this first end and put up two good ones in the beginning, then one got a little high. How are you feeling at that point?
I was thinking to myself, just don't pass out and fall off of the stage, actually. So, yeah. And I'm like,
that
and I'm talking to Rob, and he knew I wasn't feeling good, and I'm just like, don't stand here too close, buddy, because I ended up with 103.8 fever, and just I was pretty sick. So, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, on that first end, then, were you like getting things figured out as far as the glare? I know string blur is an issue as well.
Yeah, just trying to see what it's going to be like, because you can go in practice back in that room all day long, and it's not the same as being out there because the other lights are out, and the screen. I didn't even realize there was a screen there for a while.
Yeah.
And to have that lower light even coming up.
So we're coming in to the second end now. What were you thinking about as far as we're like, okay, now I figured out I need to do X?
I just need to make solid, strong shots is all I keep thinking about. And if I make good, solid, strong shots, then I know it's going to be there. It's either going to be there or not. I mean, one of the guys kept saying, "Oh, it's barebow close."
Yes.
and see, and that stupid elbow.
What'd you see? Tell us what you saw.
So when you go back and you reevaluate your shots, you learn a lot, especially when you're seeing things, especially at these angles.
Yes.
So if I have a good strong shot, my elbow will stay really strong, and see how my elbow started coming in.
Yeah.
So not being on the top of my game and not feeling well, I'm sure had a lot to play and a lot to do with it. I just was not throwing those strong shots that I needed. And if I have a strong shot, then that elbow stays back. I'm locked in, and I don't move that elbow. And there it creeped again. So I creeped again. And so that's after the Lancaster Classic. That's been like my main thing to really focus on, making sure that I'm good, stopped, and steady before I make that shot.
Yeah.
So
now tell us what your anchor is. Everybody barebow has a different method of getting to your anchor to make sure you're at the same spot every time. What's yours?
Well, I have, if you talk to people, I have a really weird way of getting there. I pull through and then pull back up.
Yes.
So I go forward. I have a pinch in my shoulder, so if I pull straight back, it actually hurts my shoulder. So that's why I do that. It's not something that I would, recommend to anybody, unless that's what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But I go back, and then I come back in, settle in, and pinch real hard through the shoulder blades.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and really try to engage those back muscles.
Don't you have something that you say to get your timing down, your rhythm down? Isn't there something you say in your head?
I sing a song.
That's what I thought.
So I use that Na 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 na.
Yes.
Hey hey hey. Goodbye.
And then you shoot.
And then by the time that and it keeps me to where I'm at a slower rhythm. I know that that can help me like take my mind off of what I'm supposed to do
Yes.
and slow me down, because usually when you're in a, see, now that was a good strong elbow
Your
that
elbow
fit right
stayed
there.
up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it just keeps, when you shoot in a group, you tend to go as fast as that group does.
All right.
And so like at nationals one year, we were shooting really, really fast. And I'm like, this is not the way I shoot. And so I started humming my song, and the girl next to me actually, and you see that elbow stayed right where it's supposed to be. The girl next to me, she goes, "What are you singing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And she goes, "No, hum a little louder." And if you watched, somebody videoed us when we were shooting, and me and her pulled up at the same time, and we pulled through, and we anchored, and we let go almost at the same time. See,
Yeah.
and those were three really strong. Get your elbow back, Fawn.
Yes.
So
And so this, I should point out, you were 4 points down coming into this end, and then with your shooting, you swung and took, I think it was a 4-point lead.
high.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it was an
8-point
8-point swing
there.
at that point. Yeah.
That's incredible. At that point, like, did you realize the score? I mean, obviously you knew you shot a good end, but did you know?
I knew it
Boom.
was a good end, but I didn't know I was behind, or I try not to worry about the score until after it's over.
Right.
Because that's one more thing that I don't care to think about.
Right. Yeah.
It made me cough.
That's when you're going to cough on the mic.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
go ahead.
So we're coming into the last end here, and this is where the magic happens. I won't give it away because it's coming up here, but what's your mindset going into this last end? Are you putting any extra pressure on yourself?
No, I actually just asked the ref if I could get some water because I was feeling like I was going to puke. So I asked him, and he said, so yeah, I was just trying to finish and not be sick and not fall over. So I was starting to feel pretty fatigued at that point, just not feeling well.
Yeah.
But I just thought, just try to make some strong shots, Juan. Just stay in it, strong shots. Elbow, elbow, elbow. See, I mean, you can. As soon as that elbow goes for me, it's like you have to. It's got to be strong. And when I'm making those weaker shots, it's just not. It's not where it is. So, after this shot, for me, see, there goes that elbow. After this one, after Claire, somebody right behind me says, "Oh my God, if it's Fawn's game, it's Fawn's game." And all I could think to myself is, no, it's not. No, it's not. I got to make it through this shot first. And then Claire's got to shoot.
Yeah.
And then there goes that elbow. And then somebody says, "Oh my God, she needs an 11. She can't get an 11. Fawn's got it." And then when she nailed that 11, I was like, holy. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's perfect, because I'm sure that's what you said.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I'm like, no, that's not right. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. What do we do now?
I mean, she hadn't shot an 11 yet, and then she hits that on the last arrow. She needed that. That's what was just amazing.
Yeah. So and she's an amazing shooter. And then she's shot gun. I believe she shot guns in the past, and she's competed shooting guns. And here I go sit down because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna pass out. But she's shot and competed in the past, and she's really good and strong. She's a strong shooter.
She has the current indoor barebow world record. They just introduced them, so not many rounds were shot.
Well, actually,
for world archery,
if my paperwork was turned in correctly, I actually got her, I think, by 3 points.
Oh, okay, gotcha. They sent out a news release last week, and it had her as the as the record
Yeah.
holder, but they're updating those. So
Yes. Well, every time that you have a shoot that qualifies
Right.
for it. Yeah. So yeah.
yes.
I know
So
she did something for outdoors too this past year. So I wasn't able to go to that because the outdoor nationals, the Target Nationals, are during my first week of school. And so
okay.
I'm not allowed to miss that first week of school.
Right.
So it's hard for me to make it to some of those shoots.
So we're going to the shoot off now. As you said, you had to sit down. You're feeling it.
Oh yeah, I was definitely feeling, and it's hot up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize how hot those lights are and how hot those lights get. But I'm really surprised Rob's in a sweater, a sweater vest. Because it really is. It is squelching hot up there, and then with everything else that you're doing, it's just one of those things. So,
and 103 fever.
Right. And see, and that was I probably put a little bit too much palm in that one, just trying to make sure it gets there. And then we both get 8s, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. and you can see that, so it's like, okay, now what do we do? And I thought we were just going to shoot another one. So if you watch, I put an arrow in because I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Then whoever it was that was down at the end, I'm just in my own world. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to shoot anybody, but I didn't realize she had to go down there to tell us that we both had 8. So.
Right.
So yeah. And then it was just, the only thing that goes through my head at this point is just strong shots, stay with it. Strong shots, stay with it.
Are you feeling nervous?
You do.
Are you feeling nervous right now?
Yeah. I still feel the nerves all the way through.
Yeah.
But I think I was more nervous about throwing up in front of everybody.
But you came back with a 9 there.
Yeah.
And then Claire really had one get away.
She let her nerves. It's nerves. It gets to you. Everybody does. It's part of the game.
Right.
Nerves are going to get to you. Barebow is something that, you could be shooting awesome one minute and the next minute you're like, what the hell am I doing? So, just it happens, and it could be just as little as, you're setting your palm wrong in your release or on your grip. Your one finger's in too far. It could be anything.
Well, that seems to be what people like about barebow is that, as you mentioned, you could be shooting, a 30, and then the next end you could shoot a 1. Anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, look at some of the guys. Some of the guys that we all know very well. They'll shoot 2 11s and then shoot one in somebody else's target.
Yeah.
John Demmer. Sorry.
John Demmer. Absolutely.
but it comes down. Barebow comes down to consistency. If you are consistent, you are going to do well. So, it really does come down to your consistency.
Right. And it's the discipline that has the least things to help you be consistent as far as back wall, no clicker, nothing.
You have to be consistent. It can't be, it's not, your equipment has to be consistent too, but you have to be consistent.
Right. That's awesome. Well, Fawn, that was excellent. We definitely appreciated you going through that match with us. I guess, we wish you the best going forward here. We hope to see you at a tournament soon. What would you shoot this year if it happens?
We're hoping to actually do the field trials again.
Okay.
Field is in Yankton, South Dakota this year, so everything's in the States, so it'll be a cheaper trip for us.
Yeah.
Hopefully we bake the trials. Trials are the first week, I believe, in July, and then the actual world or field worlds or whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually in September. So hopefully this the virus and everything is on a downhill, slide, so that we can still do that. Of course, I'll definitely be shooting 3D because that's my heart and soul right there. So
yes.
Yeah.
All right, Fawn. Well, we appreciate your time today, and best of luck the rest of the season here.
All right, great. You guys stay safe and healthy.
Thank you.